Live, this is One for the Record. I'm Diane, and today is September 2nd, 2016. It's only a few minutes after midnight. And here are your news updates for today. It's basically a be safe talk. Now, the hurricane should be making landfall very soon. It's been taking a long time. Originally, I thought it was supposed to be around 7. Then I heard it was around 11. So now I believe it's just making landfall now. I want everyone to please be safe, and we're going to talk just real quick some safety hints for you, the tips for you today. Safety tips for you. Please, if you're in an area that has, you're driving and you can't basically see the road, don't drive through it. Please don't drive through it. Standing water could be a lot deeper than you think. Could be part of a ditch. Because now the ditches are going to fill up in Florida, and you won't be able to see where the ditch starts and ends. I've been in that situation. If you can avoid driving or going anywhere, that's the best thing to do, is try to stay put where you are if you're safe. Another thing is, always have life jackets in the back seat of your car. When you're in a flash flood area or you have kids and the water is going up, this is good for everyone. Because when I lived in California and actually worked out in Valencia, and they were having flash floods, I always had a life jacket in my back seat. You should have a life jacket for each person. Not in the trunk, because once you get out of the car, you might get swept away. Have your life jackets in the back seat of the car. You don't have to be on a boat to end up getting into turbulent waters that can just sweep you away in a flash flood zone. Alrighty then, you hear the frogs in the background. They're warning of rain. They always croak when there's going to be rain. So make sure you have your life jackets behind the seats, on the floor, and back seat of your car. That's number one, very important. And if it is treacherous out there, just put it, have it ready to go. Have it ready on your kids, if you can, if you have kids. Also, number two, do you have enough food, water, supplies, toilet paper, hygiene products? If you don't have them, get them now. Also, the main thing was the life jackets. Because that's all you see is people getting trapped in their cars, or they can't swim. If you have electric, let me give you a helpful hint. If there's a chance your car is going to plunge into something, and you have electric windows, please, even though it's a terrible, if you can, make sure your windows are down. If you're not sure, you might get blown off by terrible winds into a river, off a bridge. Whenever crossing a bridge, I mean, if it's raining, I can understand not having the windows down, but I don't care. I have electric windows. I don't know how many times with some of my previous cars, I've been literally trapped inside. Like, I had an old Cadillac, and as soon as the battery went dead, the electric door locks the windows. When I was trapped in the car for a while. Not very good. So, if you have electric windows, and it's doable, the weather is doable, I would always ride with the window down. I prefer the kind that you crank, the old-fashioned cranking windows. That's another tip for you. And when it's really hot out and you're trapped in the car, I mean, it could kill you. And you don't want to break the window. So, best thing to do is always have one or two windows. Maybe a window in the front, while you're driving, and maybe one kitty-cornered in the back. So you can get out and you don't drown. If for some reason you end up going off a bridge, going into a ditch with water, that's so you can get out. Because a lot of times those electric windows, they won't let you out. Also, make sure you have something in your glove compartment or in the middle thing, like a pair of scissors, so that you can cut the safety belt off of you if you have to get out. Alright, you gotta have something to cut the safety belt. Don't get trapped in your car. Also, always have, if you're traveling in stormish weather, always have a change of clothes with you, wrapped up in maybe a plastic bag. Clothes, pants, shirt, shoes, underwear, any kind of hygiene products you might need. Make sure you have that in your car. Even some food in your car. Winter's coming up and a lot of people get stuck in the snow for hours. Make sure you have some kind of food. Canned food maybe with a can opener. That would be a good idea. These are just tips for everybody. Safety tips while you're traveling. And if you have more than one, if you know you're going to be traveling with people, or you have kids, or you always have a friend that you drive around with, make sure you have supplies for them too, because they might get trapped in the car with you, or stuck, or whatever. Keep your umbrella in the back seat. I don't know how many times I've done it myself. I've had my umbrella in the trunk. What good is that? Then you get out and you get all wet trying to get to your umbrella. Keep the umbrella and maybe a nice plastic bag that goes over it, or one of those umbrella things. Oh, someone's calling. Alrighty then. I'm going to stop this for a second and see what's going on. If you have pets, please make sure that the pets have all their food and everything they need. If you have pets outside and there's a terrible storm, like the storm coming, bring them in the house. Lock them in the bathroom if you have to. Put a bunch of poopy paper down and keep them in the bathroom. Alrighty then. Make sure they have a 24-hour place to poop. I'm sure they're going to be scared. But don't have them outside thinking that a little dog house or out in the garage. Well, if you have to put them in the garage, and put them in the garage, but they're better off. They're probably going to be scared also from noises and stormage. Don't have them by themselves. At least put them in the bathroom. That way they can hear you talking and they know they're safe. Alrighty then. Better off lock them in the bathroom if you have to. And if you have 2 bathrooms, that's even great, because that way you don't have to keep opening the door. But I'm sure your pets need reassuring also. You don't want it to be like traumatic for them either, because they really don't understand what's going on, and they can sense the storm. Even my fish in my aquarium, they sit very low. When it's going to rain and there's a storm, the fish in the aquarium, just go to the bottom. It's kind of neat. So that kind of forecast something's going on. Alrighty then. And especially if you have cats that try to get out like I do. I have this one that tries, the big boy, he tries to get out all the time. Lock them up ahead of time if you have to leave. Lock them in the bathroom. Plenty of food, water, cat box. And then when you come home, then let them out. Because you can't chance them getting out into a storm as soon as you open the door and boom, out the door they go. Just better off making them comfortable in a bathroom or a bedroom. A separate room that closes. Same with, dogs too. But better off with dogs in the bathroom. They're not as, most of them aren't as poopy trained, especially if they're nervous and there's a storm. They get nervous and there's a storm. They might start peeing and pooping or something. So maybe better off where the floor isn't carpeted. And plenty of poopy paper and maybe even plastic, like one of the lids to a container. Just a plastic bag, something, and then the newspaper and stuff on top of that. That way it won't go through the paper onto the floor. Alrighty then. Also, giving you all these tips. We're having extreme weather all over the place. Earthquakes. Here's a handy tip for you. Note to the right of me. See the chimes, the wind chimes? Living in California, being through a few major earthquakes. Let me see if I can direct this because it's reverse on the film. There it is above my finger. Make sure you have wind chimes in your house. As soon as the shaking starts, they'll wake you up and they'll sway. Alrighty then. See, it's swaying because I had the windows open and the wind's starting to pick up right now. What else? These are handy tips for you that actually might save you in an emergency. When driving home, and it's a holiday, here comes a holiday, it's a holiday weekend. If you're working, when you drive home, put your keep your uniform on. Keep your uniform on so they know you're not coming home from a party when you get to a checkpoint. And even in an emergency, make sure emergency, party time, make sure you have your driver's license, your insurance, and proof of registration. Handy dandy. Right by you. You can pick it up without having to shuffle through stuff. And you can hand it to the police officer. And don't get out of your car. And don't go rummaging around for things. Alrighty then. Just have it ready to go. And especially if you were working and you weren't at a party, keep your uniform on so when you go through the checkpoint, they know, oh, they're just getting off work at the restaurant down the street, or at the supermarket, or the bowling alley, whatever. Alrighty, then it just makes everything go a little easier. Alright? And if you have to party, you party in place. If you're gonna party, you party in place and you leave the next morning. Better off partying at home. Alrighty then, don't take chances. That's the only difference between young people and older people. The older people have already been busted or whatever, and they realize maybe they're not so lucky enough to hit the lotto, so they're not lucky enough not to get busted with a DUI. Alright, just look at it that way. If you're not lucky enough to hit the lotto, you're probably not lucky enough not to get a DUI and take the chance and go out there driving after having any type of alcohol. One beer, it doesn't matter what it is, you're over the limit.